It's time for us to get back to our grammar series as we start the final set of English tenses, the perfect continuous tenses. You will probably recognize some of the words used to describe this tense, as we have already learned the continuous tenses as well as the perfect tenses. However, now we have to learn a new set of tenses that require components from both of these grammatical tenses. If you have not already learned the progressive or perfect tenses, please make sure that you go back and watch those videos before you try to learn the perfect progressive tenses. For those of you who have already watched those videos, since you have already learned how to form those tenses, you should be well set up for learning this new group of tenses. Although the perfect progressive tenses may seem overwhelming at first, you will quickly see that they are simpler than you might expect. Don't forget that in grammar, the word perfect means complete, and progressive or continuous means that something is continuing, in progress, or unfinished. In a nutshell, the perfect progressive tenses are for speaking about when an action that was, is, or will be in progress is completed. Because of this, usually these tenses are used to answer the question, how long? So, without further ado, let's get started with the present perfect continuous tense. The present perfect continuous tense, or present perfect progressive tense, is used to discuss something that began in the past and is continuing in the present. Typically, it is used to show how long something has been taking place or the duration of an event. It is also possible to use this tense to discuss something that recently has stopped, particularly if there is an effect in the present. For example, I'm tired because I've been working hard all day. Notice that even though you are no longer working, you are now tired because of the working. Just in case you haven't had enough of auxiliary or helper verbs yet, the perfect continuous tenses require 2 auxiliary verbs as well as the main verb. This means that we need to see or hear 3 verbs in a row. To form this tense, we use the present form conjugation of the verb to have combined with the past participle of the verb to be and the present participle. Since the verb to have conjugates as either has or have, we end up with has or have plus been and the root of the verb plus ing, also known as rooting or verbing. For example, she has been cleaning her room for over an hour. In this case, the sentence is giving you the information that she started cleaning her room more than an hour ago and that she is still cleaning it now. Some other examples of this could be, we have been waiting for a long time. They have been practicing their skit for several months. He's been playing video games a lot recently. When we look at these examples, there are a few things that you might notice. First of all, we often use time words or phrases to give a bit of information on the duration of time that something has been happening when we use this tense. For example, since Thursday, for a while, or for 20 minutes can all be used with the present perfect continuous. Frequently, you will see the words for or since indicating the time frame. As a brief reminder, the word for is used when we are speaking about a specific time period, and the word since is used when we refer to a specific time in the past, moving to now. Alternatively, we can also use generic time words, such as recently or lately, to still indicate that something has been happening, but without giving a specific time frame. Regardless of whether or not a specific time word is used, don't forget that the present perfect continuous still will always carry the meaning of recently or lately. Therefore, if I ask a question like, how have you been feeling? The meaning is to ask how someone has been feeling recently, not necessarily in the exact moment of the conversation. When this tense is used in question format, it can indicate that there is some kind of physical evidence of the action, meaning that you may be able to hear, see, feel, or smell the results of the action. For example, if someone came over to my house and they could smell some food, they may ask, "What have you been baking?" Keep in mind, however, that this also means that you may offend someone by using this tense incorrectly, so you want to make sure that you know how to use it properly. Secondly, you may notice that instead of saying he has been playing video games a lot recently, I said he's been playing video games a lot recently. This is because we often shorten words where we can in English, and we are able to shorten the word to have. It is good to be able to recognize that in this case, the word being shortened is the word to have rather than the conjugation of the verb to be. Let's look at the conjugation and shortening of this tense using the verb walk. I've been walking. You've been walking. He's been walking. She's been walking. It's been walking. We've been walking. They've been walking. Since not all verbs can be used in a continuous way, we are not able to use these static verbs in the present perfect continuous tense. For example, verbs like know, own, understand, or arrive would not make sense and need to be used in another tense, such as the present perfect tense instead. Of course, we can use this tense to form the negative version of the sentence as well. To do this, we simply add the word not between the conjugated form of the verb have and been. For example, you have not been working here for very long. Please note that if we want to contract the negative form of the sentence, it would be more common to contract the auxiliary verb to have with not than to contract the subject with the first auxiliary verb. For example, we would not typically say, "It's not been snowing." Rather, we would say, "It hasn't been snowing." To use the interrogative form of this tense, simply switch the position of the subject with the word have. For example, have you been practicing the piano every day? You may be wondering what the difference is between the present perfect and the present perfect continuous tenses. The present perfect tense tells us about the result of something, including telling about a completed action or how many there are of something. The present perfect continuous, however, tells us about the activity that is happening, describes how long something has been happening for, or it can be used when we see the results of a recent activity. Make sure that you practice using this tense in your daily life a little bit every day. I challenge you to find appropriate opportunities to use this tense at least 5 times every day for the next week. You will find that as you use this tense, it will become clearer to you when it is appropriate to use it in a natural conversation. Don't forget that subscribing is free, and see you next time on ESL Universe.